Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jen Trepic, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about 75 hard. So this is another diet approach that you've maybe seen in headlines or on social media. And it's one where more and more I'm hearing people tell me that they've tried it. And maybe because it was a big topic at the beginning of 2024, and now we're more than 75 days into the year, So I wanted to talk about it. And I have, per usual, some nuanced thoughts. So let's talk about 75 hard. Let's walk through what it is, and let's see if it's an approach that could be helpful or harmful for you. All right? So let's start with what it is. Your face.
I'm baffled already.
Okay.
I already don't like it, and I don't know what it is.
Okay. So I'll tell you what it is. So it's based on a book called 75 Hard. It was the title of a book by Andy Frisella. I think that's how I say his last name. More interesting than the title is the subtitle. It says, A Tactical Guide to Winning the War with Yourself.
Okay, that already sounds bad. It doesn't sound like self-love or anything you should be doing to yourself.
Well, it's 75 hard, right? So let's look at the rules. So as it's outlined, a person commits to doing these 5 things every day for 75 days. Okay? So it's follow a diet, complete 2 45-minute workouts, one of which must be outdoors, take a progress picture, drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of a book. Audiobooks do not count. Couple other things on that. No alterations to the program are allowed. If you miss any of your daily goals, your progress resets to day 1. And then he says, you will be tempted to try to change things a little to suit you and your special lifestyle. But that right there is the root of every problem in your life, he says.
Oh, boy.
Okay. I'm going to come back to my thoughts. A couple other things. On the diet, he says follow a diet. He doesn't tell you what quote unquote diet. He says that it must be a structured eating plan with the goal of physical improvement. No alcohol or meals outside of your chosen diet are allowed. He also doesn't give any instruction on the workouts. So 2 a day at 45 minutes, 1 has to be outside. So his claims of what it's going to build. He says it builds confidence, self-esteem, perseverance, self-worth, self-belief, fortitude, and grittiness. What's going through your mind?
It just seems so regimented. Who lives like that?
Well, it's not supposed to be living. It's just for 75 days.
Okay, we talk about this all the time. Something that regimented and so inflexible. You're giving up after day 10, if you get to day 10, because you have to reset.
Right.
So if I don't get my 45 minutes in outside because it's raining, man, I got to go back to the beginning.
Right.
Go back to start. Do not pass go. Do not collect $500.
Exactly. So, okay. So I think there's pros and cons. Okay. I'll start with the pros piece of it. I like that you can choose your workouts and your nutrition plan because those are definitely not one size fits all, right? That's where you get some customization. I like that it's red lines. So we talked about this in our episode, Willpower Won't Power. Red lines make things easier. It cuts down the mental chatter, right? Red lines, hard rules. And I do agree that sticking with something for 75 days can improve your self-esteem. Keeping your commitment to yourself builds belief. I like that he isn't using the scale or BMI as a metric. And that's about where my pros list ends.
But it's a good list.
Okay, thank you.
It is a good list. I mean, if you're looking at for the positives, I mean, it is nobody's going to be harmed by reading 10 pages a day. That's a positive. But at the same time, we talk about all the time.
Yep.
Start where you're at, make good choices for yourself. Pick something that you know you're going to stick with and make it a
Right.
habit. I don't know,
Exactly.
if I was
So
taking a progress picture every day,
I know.
that's as disheartening as getting on the scale every day.
I agree with you. So this is, you're like running down my list of the cons. So with the customization piece, right? Starting the cons where I started the pros, with the customization piece, I think the majority of people need more direction than he's offering when it comes to choosing that nutrition. I also think 2-a-days for workouts at 45 minutes each need to be adjusted depending on where somebody's starting. And I guess if it's one of those is a walk, but it also doesn't need to be 45 minutes, so I think people need some guidance on those two pieces. Similar to you, I don't like the daily photos. I recommend my clients take photos every 12 weeks. So if it was 75 days, I would say beginning and end. I wouldn't even say weekly, and certainly not daily. To me, this is an unnecessary task that forces us into a habit daily of scrutinizing the photo of our bodies. And I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we do that enough. Like, I don't need to be assigned to do this, and certainly not daily. And that certainly will not improve my confidence.
No, or my self-esteem at that point.
Right. I'm fundamentally challenged by the 75 hard philosophy because it keeps us, and the starting over, right? For two reasons. Number one, it keeps us in black and white. I'm on or I'm off. And number two, I have seen it over and 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 over with myself and my clients and podcast listeners and anybody. And the world tells me all this stuff about themselves. So like, I have heard this a bajillion times. Something like this creates a boomerang in the other direction when it ends.
Yes.
I'm not seeing, to your point, Cindy, I'm not seeing where we learn how to live the rest of our lives. Right? This is by definition a diet, something you will do for a finite period of time. There isn't anything in this that will help you with what you're going to do after the 75 days.
Exactly. It's that 70 days
Right.
hard.
Right. Exactly. And there is nothing in here to teach us the skills of navigating life. I think in his mind, resetting to day one, if something happens, is learning the skill of continuing on, but it's not. It's learning the skill of starting over.
And who wants to live their life that black and white and always starting over?
Exactly. And to me, he's asking us to turn everything else off for 75 days. Well, I got news for you. If we turn everything else off but one thing for 75 days, that thing will happen. But I don't know many people who have the capacity to turn everything else off for any period of time.
No. I mean, life happens in 75 days. You have birthday parties and showers and
his point
friends.
is like, fine, go, but don't eat, or eat only for your plan, or do the thing and still do the 5 things in the day that you're supposed to do. I struggle with it. And that brings me to, I think, my final con. And I go back to his subtitle, right? A tactical guide to winning the war with yourself. I fundamentally believe that the issue is not that we are too soft on ourselves or that we lack grit. And the things that he's saying we're going to gain, right? The self-confidence, the perseverance, the self-worth, the self-belief, the fortitude, the grittiness. Like, yes, some of those may be a challenge, but that doesn't mean that we'll take this 75 hard extreme to the rest of our life. And I think it creates the opposite. Day 76, when we let our guard down, and not one of the people I know challenged by their health and their weight think that there's something they can't do for a finite short period of time. We have done it all. for a short period of time. There isn't a diet out there that I haven't done, my family hasn't done, or we don't know somebody who's tried it, right? We, as a collective of people who have been struggling with these things for any amount of time, are very clear that we can do wild things when we commit to it. That's not the problem. And so I guess maybe that's where I think fundamentally, and I don't know his story, but I'm willing to guess that this is a person who's never been challenged by their health or their weight before. This is somebody who later in life is coming to this and saying, okay, I got to do it. I'm going to put the blinders on. I'm going to do this thing. And I think other people can do it too.
It has a very military feel to it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't see that, even that, like the subhead of like winning the war with yourself. Like, I don't want to win the war with myself. I want to be on the same team as myself.
You want to be at peace with yourself. And if anything you're doing in your life is putting you at odds or at war with yourself,
right,
that can't be a good place.
Right. And if you think that yourself is the problem, right? You know, it's like, that's a lot of what we've been taught is the problem. A lot of what we're feeding ourselves is the problem. It's making it all harder. You inherently are not a problem. And I feel like that's implied by this. And so
Yes.
I say all this to say that I think we have better options. If you want to do this, I get it, right? Those red lines. There are things about this that might be very appealing. If you want to do this, let's talk. If you don't want to talk with me or resources that I can point you to, find someone who can support you with a nutrition and a fitness plan and can support you around what your plan will be after the 75 days. Okay? Cindy, any other thoughts?
I don't know. I drink the Jen Kool-Aid. And I say, truly, if you want to better yourself, this would not be my way to do it. But you give so many great suggestions for making good changes. If you're going to battle with yourself, do it the Jen Trepic way.
Well, thank you. I hope the Jen Trepic way isn't a battle with yourself.
I have not found it to be.
Okay, great. Perfect. Well, thank you. And as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jen Trepic. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jen Trepic, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. Please pick your platform, send a message. I want to hear your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your health coach. Cindy, thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And of course, everybody, if you are not already, join our membership program by going to glow.fm/saladwithasideoffries to show your support for this podcast, this community, and most importantly, support your health. You'll get this week's recipe for the Green Goddess Spring Salad, and the article from our friends at Levels is fructose behind Alzheimer's disease, connected to this week's episode. So listen to the episode and then read the article. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.